Egg yolk, what's going on? Viewers of the tube, if you don't know by now, my name is Tyler and you just entered a YouTube channel like no other. Crypto focused, but sometimes we rap, sing, dance, and just enjoy the shat out of entertaining you. Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Because it's time for Chico Crypto. Today, it finally went down like Charlie Brown, the Litecoin Halving event. What happened to the price? Well, I shoot these videos a day before, so I have no idea. But if I had to predict something, it would just be a very slight dip. Nothing drastic, as I think everything is pretty close to being priced in. Why? The previous and first Litecoin halving took place on August 26, 2015. And the price before had an extreme run-up, going from just under $2 to over $8 a month before the event, then coming down to the $4 range. And then a week before, it started to decline, getting to a low of $2.57 just before the event, and then stabilizing in the $2.80 range after. Now, looking at the recent price movements over the past 5 months, Litecoin did have a run-up. Not as extreme percentage-wise, but still went from $40 in the beginning of March to over $140 at its peak in late June. Just like last time, it was about a month before when the decline started, but that is where the similarities stop. Now, the previous Litecoin halving event took place in the bottom of the last bear market that came after the 2013-2014 bubble. On August 26, 2015, Bitcoin hit its low of nearly $200. The market sentiment wasn't good at all. That is why there was such a dip on the days before. That is why I don't believe we should see another radical dip, and Litecoin will hang around this $90 to $100 level for some time. This time, we aren't at the bottom of a bear market, and the sentiment overall is much, much better. Although a bearish scenario could take over for Litecoin if things don't change regarding its focus and development. I'll explain why in a bit. So what does this performance tell us about the future? Does it give us any insight into the Bitcoin halving? What about Litecoin in the future? And does it tell us anything about other altcoins? As we know, the Bitcoin halving is less than a year away, happening in May of next year. It's become a very common theme of what happens to popular proof-of-work coins in the case of a halving event. A pump that reaches its peak about a month before, and then a correction down just before, and sometimes after the event. This is exactly what happened with Bitcoin in the previous halving in 2016, as well as both Litecoin halving events. This pattern is becoming so common, I wouldn't doubt for a second something similar will happen in the months prior to May of next year. After the short-term volatility, I have a feeling Bitcoin's price will recover with a vengeance, while Litecoin, I predict a bearish sentiment will take over for a while until the hype of Bitcoin's halving brings up not only Litecoin, but the entire market with it. Why? Last halving event in 2015, Litecoin was an entirely different project. They had a dedicated Charlie Lee, and development was in full swing, creating the silver to Bitcoin's gold. The Fury development continued all the way up until basically the end of 2018. But throughout 2019, development has been a literal ghost town. Literally, there has only been 10 commits to Litecoin's core GitHub since January. Just looking at the history of total commits per month, Bitcoin has steadily been increasing, while Litecoin just had a major boost from 2016 to 2018, but has since come crashing down to nothing. If we take a look at developers during the last halving, they had 42 developers contributing to the code. Shoot, even 6 months before the beginning of 2019, they had over 41 developers contributing. Now, all the way through 2019, there is just 4 developers. Now, some people might argue that Litecoin development is pretty much complete, and there isn't much to improve upon, thus the lack of work being performed. Which is utter nonsense, because if you look at Bitcoin's core repo, commits are still just as high as back in 2016 during its last halving event. And since January, there have been nearly 1,000 commits, just 100 times more active than Litecoin. Since the beginning of 2019, the development of Bitcoin is healthy, with 47 developers contributing to the code. Now, if you compare the developers of Litecoin and Bitcoin, you can tell a lot of the core Bitcoin developers were also working on Litecoin. And that was common throughout Litecoin's history until 2019. What the hell happened? Well, as we know, Charlie Lee has pretty much sold off his stake of Litecoin right at the peak in December of 2017, and that is a whole controversy in itself. People accusing him of insider trading, as he was the director of engineering at Coinbase during the Coinbase listing. And there were some pretty incriminating tweets of Charlie Lee and Brian Armstrong tweeting about listings, which was a direct example of insider trading happening before our eyes. Brian responding to Charlie's tweet about the listing with, "Let's do it," which Brian has since deleted. Charlie then quit Coinbase right after and then dumped all of his LTC. Jordan Belfort would be proud.
Good luck on that subway ride home to your miserable, ugly fucking wives. I'm gonna have Heidi lick some caviar off my balls in the meantime.
Charlie tried to distance himself from the project without putting the project into a tailspin, saying he did it because he didn't want to cause a conflict of interest, so he could focus on adoption and not price. Well, that adoption was supposed to come from the Litecoin Foundation, and from what they have been putting forward, it has been focused on marketing and not development. Litecoin is the coin of the Miami Dolphins. Litecoin sponsors the UFC, but nothing regarding advancement of the tech, which in this competitive nature of crypto, if you want developers to build on your platform, they need to be compensated for it. And it's obvious this wasn't happening with Litecoin as the devs were abandoning the project. The Litecoin Foundation has even recognized this. In their last blog post, which dropped just 2 days ago, they admit most of their efforts over the past several months have been focused on awareness on a global scale, aka marketing. Thus, the foundation is setting up a Litecoin wallet, which will rely on the support of the community to fund the technical development of Litecoin, like confidential transactions. And they posted the address, which could be donated to. Let's now check out how much money they have in it for technical development. Let me tell you, it's a doozy, a whopping total of 3.41 Litecoin, or under $320. This is why no talent is developing on LTC, and it's going to be a big problem if Charlie doesn't personally get the funds off the ground. Thus, in my personal opinion, it's coins that follow this pattern, not focusing on their core technology and just throwing money at marketing, are going to have some rough times ahead. This chart is screaming something to me. Ripple, the purple line, is failing to provide development, and that has been on the overall decline since 2014. While a project like Monero, who has a strong development community, is following what Bitcoin did from the start. And that will be a strong key to success. So check on the development of your altcoin projects, my friends, because the data tells you more than you think. Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.